Good evening, everyone. I'd like to start the meeting. It's 5:30. And I'd like to call the meeting to order. The first order is the minutes. Has everyone had the opportunity to review the minutes of from the last meeting? Yes. And Kathleen, I know you had a few issues. Hello. Great.
That things have been
Yep.
changed around, so it's all
Okay,
taken care of.
great. So does anyone have any other questions regarding the minutes from the last?
Shouldn't you say what the questions were made so that we can approve them? Because none of us have seen the corrected minutes.
The corrected minutes, Lois, include the removal of the response to the quorum, and I'll report that tonight. And then it updated the date for the meeting.
Okay,
There was an error there.
Great,
But those
thank
have
you.
both been corrected.
Okay, with the corrections that were made by Danny, can I have someone who will motion to approve the minutes? Thank you, Kathleen. Oh, yes. Oh, and everyone, can we take a vote on approving the minutes as adjusted?
Could you please reiterate what was the change in the minutes regarding the?
Last minutes, it will go into tonight's minutes.
Got it.
Sorry.
And I am going to go back a step and make sure everyone is here tonight. So Amy is here, Chris Bangs, the City Council Liaison, Denise, Jessica Hines is absent, Kathleen, Lois, Luke, Vitter, Rick, and myself. And Danny Smith is recording as secretary. Okay. Next, I'd like to ask, is there any public comment, or do we have any public members? Nope. Okay. Next, we will do the City Council Liaison Report. So that's Chris Bangs.
All right, a couple things. First, I apologize for missing the last library advisory board meeting, but the city council candidate forum was happening at the same time, which I attended instead. The biggest news involving the city council is the election results, which are sending Herman Maldonado and Jim Davis, fire chief, along with a re-election of Sean Barwig and to the city council, and Greg Parker and Art Marine are not going to be in the city council anymore. So that was the biggest change. The council continues to deal with this dog park. Really more of a longer standing issue than I would have imagined possible. Guessing that with the new council, the dog park will probably not be built there on Territorial. I don't know where it'll be built, if at all, but I don't know what's going to happen with the dog park anymore. But that's the big news involving our city council.
What is the opposition?
I think mostly it's centered on people who live in the area that don't want a dog park in their neighborhood. And the city only owns really what's called the Honda Pit as an alternate location, but it's right alongside the railroad tracks. It's steep, there's a wetland running through it, and there's a homeless person who's, I don't want to characterize him as angry, but when I was walking through the area, I got yelled at by the homeless guy. I'm not sure he was yelling because he was angry, but there is a homeless person in there. Anyway, I guess if you had a large dog, it would be a safe place to be. So I don't know what's going to happen with the dog park.
Just a quick question. Was that near the skate park that was built, or is that down
Right below
down the
it.
bank further, way down?
Right below it, and kind of overlooked by the new city police station.
Okay,
But
gotcha.
some people are talking about maybe building a dog park out at the state park. but the city doesn't own the state park. So I'm not sure it's legal for us to build a dog park there. So really my side in the city council lost the majority, so I'm not gonna have any input really on those decisions, probably starting in January. And we're not gonna be able to build a dog park between now and January. So, yeah, I don't have a dog, but the Parks Master Plan indicated an interest in the community for a dog park. But I don't know what's gonna happen. It is interesting. I think the dog park was the central issue in the election campaign. Yeah, and I think that's, you know, there's a point of frustration for me, but that it was such a single issue like that. In particular, I'm disappointed that Greg Parker has lost re-election over a dog park. But I tell you what, other places are dealing with homeless crises in their communities and violence in their communities, and we're fighting about a dog park. And so I think maybe there's something that's healthy about that.
That's a good way to look at it.
So,
Well said.
I want to say also, while I still have the floor, I have to leave by 6 because I have a child who's got no.
Uh-oh,
But it's my understanding you
Yes.
guys are going to be making a large tomorrow to the council,
going to making a report. Yes, not a large one.
but larger than I normally talk to the council about
Right.
what the library advisory committee does. And so
Yes,
like tomorrow, I'll be able to make a complete report without speaking.
that's right. Thank you. So everyone has a copy of the board chair report that was sent out along with the minutes and the agenda. There any questions? I just updated the little calendar, just kind of took off what we've already done, and as a rolling forward, I'll just keep that on there every time. And
Got
hopefully I
a
remember.
quick
Sure.
comment. Did you want any, you're going to appear at the meeting? Is that the presentation?
Yes,
You need any more support from the rest of us or? is
as
this
many people would like to come would be
just-
wonderful.
Just, I mean, not to speak, just to.
Yes, yes, as many
Basis, whatever.
members, that would be nice. Yes,
It's scheduled for the. It'll be,
That's what we've done in the past.
yeah, I haven't seen the agenda, so I wasn't sure.
Yes,
There's
for-
never an expectation that people linger. These meetings can go till 11. So
Yeah,
there's an expectation that people get up and leave when they've had.
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, that's-
That would be
that's
nice
great.
if you can, that would
And
be
what's
nice.
that, 7, when's the meeting start?
7,
7, okay,
and it's here in this,
okay, thank you.
this very space. Now we'll go to the board member reports. Start with Denise. Do you have any information on LDAC?
LDAC held their meeting yesterday from 7 to, Danny said 9:30.
Oh,
I was not there. I had to work till 7 and it was all the way over in Oregon City. Not realizing it would go that long. I think next time I might head for it. But it was a basic meeting of getting together, kind of a restart. And they did present a kind of like an agenda of not only what their obligations were, but also what their plan was to and I think, Danny, you were working on that with them as far as creating a direction for LDAC. Not quite received well.
Well, the first part of the meeting was spent, the first hour and a half reviewing 3 motions that were made by the Sandy representative, which I gave to Denise, which are questioning IGA compliance across the county from some of the cities. They're looking at debt services, capital reserves, and allocated costs. Canby was not named in any of these. However, we got a pink mark on allocated costs for a few fiscal years ago. I discussed this with the city manager. The cities have a very strong response to this because everyone's doing their due diligence to make the best library services they can. And there's some I think the IGA, the master agreement and the ballot measure all keep getting brought up, but they don't all say the same thing. And so there's a lot of ambiguity in understanding, especially legally, what is and is not required. And so the big issue on the table is capital improvements, because Malala, Gladstone Oak Lodge, Happy Valley, there's several that are looking at capital improvements. And there are some members of the LDOT committee that believe that's in violation of the master agreement. So there's discussion about that, but it sounds like this has been going on for years and years. And we still don't have a clear path. They did say that they're inviting county council to the next meeting for another legal interpretation. We don't know if they will come, but they're reaching out to ask for that.
So are they saying that any capital expenditures or capital improvements need to be funded outside, like of their own
That's
special
some
funding?
people's understanding,
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
But the master agreement also says, and the IGA, that you can use it for facility repairs and improvements. So the word improvements is yet again very vague, and some cities say that means we can build on.
Oh.
Some cities say, no, we won't.
It's like
But
repairing a ripped carpet or.
there's a lot of nuance and context to all of this. Each city brings their own kind of concerns and issues, so they're still grappling. And then, like Denise said, there was a brief overview. We gave out the first draft of the library director's strategic plan and vision for the committee, but it's still.
Yeah, I was gonna hand out a copy to everyone to see, and after talking with Danny, it's probably better to see what they've remolded it into in January, and I think it's January 18th is the next meeting. I think I saw a brief.
The 23rd,
23rd.
but we'll get that data. out.
Yeah, they,
Yeah, 23rd.
okay. I knew it was at the end of the month. So we'll reconvene and I will work to be able to have that time from work to go to it. And it will be an improvement because I think there was some unhappy cities and just the responses were not as cohesive as they had been. I think finally, after so many months of waiting and then having something come up that kind of hits the heart of the cities. Two of them wanted things different. So I do think that a direction and a agenda of how they're going to go about it is going to be the start of actually making LDAC work. And I know that every city wants that. It's just pinning it down and writing it down. Yeah, so.
First question, Denise, relative to the IGA, have they agreed, or has anybody of the libraries agreed to a process as far as how that would, are they going to attack that IGA, or are they going to have representation somehow? I don't know, just, is there a work group? Is there anything in just verbally that has come out?
For LDAC, there is actually, it's a drawn out written agenda of exactly what LDAC was supposed to be, but this is slightly different than that. This is kind of a refocus on how we're going to get to that. So there may be a lot of changes that happen come January after some of the cities change their mind on exactly how they're going
So the
to.
IGA would be part of this process
I think-
at some point.
There was a few words used last night that I don't even, there was one used that I don't know. There's a legal process to basically amend, or I don't know, there's discussion about putting out a whole new district. The city managers and most of the boards have said that this isn't a time where that's appropriate, and most of the cities can't burden taking on that big of a lift, especially when we're still in recovery. A lot of the communities, there's projections or speculation that that would fail if we tried at something like that today. But there's also a discussion about amending the IGA through the master agreement, which can be done legally. The county commissioners can do that themselves, but LDAC would need to advise them to do that. So there's a few different ways to look at it, but Grover, I always forget Grover's last name, from Milwaukee, maybe. He's Oak Lodge, Gladstone Oak Lodge, that's right. Grover and a few of the other folks would like to see this go back out as a whole new measure because they feel like there's integrity issues. Despite the fact, and to kind of drill down on this a little more, at the time the measure was written and the ballot was approved, Estacada had a capital district. So the entire rest of the district said, we can't do this because this one exists. So we're only going to be a service district. Estacada's capital district has been gone for years. So now we're operating under this context of 20 years ago or almost 20 years ago, where this thing doesn't even exist. And everyone's saying, we need to improve our libraries. So there's a lot of history here that has really muddied the waters, Rick, but it sounds like there's definitely interest at the district level to look at this more holistically and find a fix. So the city's Molalla desperately needs a library. They're renting there still, and they don't have room for more books, so they can't add more collection. So it's kind of a catch and a hard, rock and hard place. So.
Just one quick question. Is anything related to the tax situation as far as taxing districts and any readjustment or boundary changes or anything like that?
I think from what we heard last night is between the directors and the city managers and the lack of traction that the task force got originally, that's being rethought now. Perhaps the county having a consultant come in and tell us externally what's broken and this is how you need to look at fixing it. And that would streamline the process instead of trying to pull all of the cities in for this duration to try to figure this out. Because I mean, just going to one meeting, you can quickly see how different the interests are from every city and county representative. They're very different all over the map. So
that's a good point, because a lot of us aren't forgetting about what happened originally, on this boundary situation with.
Not sure
service
we're gonna
districts.
bring that up
Yeah.
for quite a time or not at all, because it opens other issues that could be even worse. So we're,
One step at a time.
yeah, exactly.
and so the gist of what the directors have recommended, and LDAC was very much in approval of last night, is that we instead want to focus on recovery in our communities, listening to our communities, and creating this cycle of hearing, doing, and adapting, and trying to build the story. So when maybe in 3 to 5 years, if there's an option to go back out for a new district, we will have some momentum and enough awareness that makes more sense. So,
Thank you.
yep.
No, thank you. Thank you, Danny and Denise. Yeah, yeah, it sounds like it. Okay, Luke, do you have a
Well, first of all, I will apologize for being gone the past 2 meetings.
We missed you.
we did miss you.
Yeah, last month I was recovering from a little teeny tiny surgery, but all is good now. And then the meeting before that, I had COVID. So,
Unavoidable.
yeah, just the way things go sometimes.
Right.
Yeah, falling apart at a young age.
Yeah.
But on my end, school's starting up again. And this year, what we're seeing a lot of is, as a part of the leadership class, social media is a lot more prominent. They're really prioritizing that this year and having that presence to reach as many people as possible. And so from a library's perspective, if there's ways for collaboration with those social media accounts, or just interaction with them to be able to reach out and kind of tap into the more student base that is present online. notably on Instagram, I think the like ASB account or whatever at Canby High School has a large following. And then also on TikTok, which you guys may or may not know. It's just a place where you can post short little videos or whatever, but that also has a following and is a good place for interaction.
Danny, who on your staff is designated as the teen?
So Karen Batridge is a library assistant. She's over the youth, or sorry, the young adult section. But our new children's librarian, he is kind of over all of it. So he's going to be working closely with Karen. I'm actually would love for you to meet him, Luke. He's just starting his 4th week and having a blast. He's a absolute riot. And I think he's going to have a lot of fun working with the kids in the community and the older kids too, sorry. You probably hate that term. But
Yeah.
he's looking forward to meeting with all of the younger folks in the community and kind of figuring out how he can start working with the schools and really plugging in. So Karen and Philip together will be tag teaming that. So, yeah.
Look, that would be nice to meet those two, and then maybe, you can show them how to
Yeah.
how to post on these. I mean, I'm sure they know how, but just just to help. And it would be nice. It would be nice to have a presence on the social media platforms.
Something completely different you never even heard of, so.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes. Okay, next is Danny, the director's bi-monthly report.
I don't have anything other than what was in my written report, unless there's any questions.
Anyone have any questions? Nope. Okay. That's great. And then Lois, the Friends of the Library.
I didn't do a written report this month because there really wasn't much of an update. The Friends are working on the Tour of Lights starting in the 1st of December. The one update that did just come in a couple of days ago, the Friends finally did get a check from the Friendsgiving tournament that was held at the Lambert Valley Golf Course on October 8th, something like that. And they got $3,000 from them. So that's all I have.
So the Tour of Lights will start the beginning of December.
Yes, it's gonna be a
A whole-
whole
like a whole
month.
month?
So you basically pay for the map and then that gives you the right to vote as well. And there's gonna be a lot more categories this year because we all know that the Andersons are going to do the biggest display in. I think it's through the 27th. And I think the winners are going to be announced the 28th. So there's actually quite a bit of time. That was one of the complaints last year was that everybody had to do it in a short period of time. And some people felt rushed. Other people had said, well, I have company coming to town. I want to do it. And other people said, I'd like to do it over a few nights, not all in one night. So they've come up with a different program. And I actually haven't seen the information from them, but I know that they are busy working on it. So I hear stories that they're so they're trying to make it a lot more inclusive, get a lot more people to participate, and then try to make it easier for the residents who want to participate to have fun doing so. So that's the goal. I told them we should be, Portland has Peacock Lane. Canby should have its own tour of lights,
Yeah.
Don't have to
It'll be fun.
want to drive into Portland to see a good light display.
And you can purchase the tickets at the library?
I'm sure that you'll be able to purchase the tickets at the library. I think that they actually, you can do it online as well.
Oh,
And that
okay.
they'll send the stuff out to you or send you a link to it. And usually they have tickets available at Thriftway as well.
Thank you.
When I get those details, I will just send them out to the group.
Okay. Okay, we'll move on to the discussion items. Oh, yes, let's do the library board contact information first because Lois and I were going to just run through what's going to be presented to the city council and see if anyone would like to add anything or So let's do the contact information. Does everyone have a copy of the new contact information, and are there any corrections that need to be made?
No, it's just
No.
for us.
This one's just
Just
for
for
us.
us.
Yeah.
Okay.
These are stored on the city's.
Confidential.
Oh, I see,
Mhm.
right.
So I assumed it was going to be public. That's why my phone number's not there.
Ooh, yep,
Yes.
Crawford, yeah. Crawford,
Quick draft
Yep,
snapshot.
right.
And,
Oh, I like
haven't
this.
done it
okay.
yet. I use old information that was still.
Rick, we need
I would
your
like,
last
yeah, I
name.
don't know. I'm not, I've lived in town 45, 50 years almost, but I don't think I'm that well known without my last name. I haven't qualified for celebrity status.
I'll give it to you. Yeah.
And Amy, did you have a preferred method of contact? Okay. But call or text.
One question with the phones, I'm assuming that people know that if unless you specifically say you want text contact, it's not going to be contacted by text at all. In other words,
Right,
We tried to call that out so people wouldn't text.
yeah.
Right.
Or if you don't text.
Yeah, I don't, yeah, mine's a landline and I think yours is a
Mhm.
landline,
Mine
right?
is
So there's-
too, yeah.
There's no texting
Yeah,
on
we're
that.
really old.
I can just resend the link if you want.
It doesn't say no text or anything. It just says phone.
Yeah, he did,
Call. A lot of
yeah.
people think once you have a cell phone, you can text or do a voice call.
I think.
That's why if it doesn't say
If it doesn't
text,
say just like
then we would
slash
use-
text in, so like on mine, it says email or call slash text. I don't, any form is fine,
Some
Right.
people just said I don't
Call.
email or call.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, maybe that solves it. If there's no text there, you can't text. Okay,
Right.
that makes
Mhm.
sense. Okay.
And then Denise, would you like to change? Okay,
Usually phone is not. Texting for
At
some
least,
reason.
yeah. And then you will add your phone number.
because
Yep.
she already said, right, text.
Okay, and Danny, you'll make the few, okay, few
I'll get it
adjustments.
back to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for getting this and adding the term and. Okay. Yes, yes.
We'll see you tomorrow night.
See you tomorrow. Okay,
Yeah, see you tomorrow. Looking forward to it.
yeah, you won't get the preview ahead of time.
I'll get to stay late then.
That's right. Okay, thanks.
So we had some technical difficulties today, so Susie and I are
Yes.
actually sharing a set of notes.
Yes. I had several technical difficulties. Okay, so what, Lois, what's that? Yep, yeah,
It's the trailer teaser.
yeah. Say, oh, I don't have to go tomorrow. I already know what's going on. So Lois and I are going to both be doing the presentation tomorrow, and it would be nice for whoever would like to be there in the audience. It would be really nice to have you in attendance. And so we are the first item of the agenda, and it starts at 7. We're just going to go through the whole presentation. It's not really long, so And then just if you have to make, if you want to make corrections or anything, just stop us. And we can make them on our copy and, or if you want to just wait to the end, either way. So welcome. We would like to thank all the city councilors and Mayor Hodgson for giving us this time tonight. We would like to extend a special thanks to Chris Bangs for all the time he has given us as the city council liaison. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Susie Stutes, and I am the chair for the 2022-23 year. I was the former interim chair and the vice chair for the Canberra. I've been saying that all day. The Canby Library Advisory Board.
We changed our name to Canberra.
Yes. It's like every time I say it, it's like, I don't, and I keep saying, don't say it, and I do it. Yeah, it is. And this is Lois Brooks, and she's the vice chair for this year and the former chair of the Friends of the Library. I'd like to introduce the other board members that are on the Canby Library Advisory Board. Kathleen Myron, who was the past chair for two times. Denise Fonseca, and correct me if I say your name wrong, please, anybody. Okay. She is the Library District Advisory Committee. Is that correct? No, representative, yeah, okay. I just wanted to see if the C was a committee.
Yeah.
or-
Mhm.
Rick Mayer, Jessica Hines, Amy Noss, and Luke Vitter, our high school liaison.
It is Viter.
Viter,
Yes.
sorry, thank you.
It's all the time.
Okay. You knew I was gonna say it wrong too. Viter, okay, got it. I will. The Library Advisory Board is a board of 8 voting members. 5 members must reside inside the city limits and 2 members can reside outside of the city limits. And there is 1 high school liaison. Chris Bangs is our city council liaison. Danny Smith, our library director, and Amber Quinn is the library operations manager. Okay, okay. And should we mention Amber?
She will be a staff liaison from time to time.
Yes,
so
that's why I thought, okay.
Okay.
For section 3.2.5 of the Canby Public Library Policy Manual, the library director or designee shall serve as secretary to the board and keep record of its action. City council liaison and library staff are non-voting members. Monthly meetings are held on the 3rd Tuesday of the month from 5:30 to 6:30 in the city council chambers. And all meetings are open to the public and are broadcast and recorded.
The time of COVID negatively impacted many things here in Canby, including the Library Advisory Board reporting to City Council. However, we're back, and so this report focuses on what has been happening with the Library Advisory Board during the fiscal year July 2021 through June 2022, the first full year the library was open after COVID. First, a quick review of our charter. And I'm not going to, they're going to have a copy of all this, so I'm not going to go through 12 points. I was just going to, so you have a copy of all 12 points, but I would like to focus on number 4, recommending types of library service for the city and its vicinity. Number 7, participating in the annual budgetary process of the city as that process pertains to the library. Number 8, recommending policies and procedures conducive to efficient and effective operation of the library. And number 10, encouraging widespread public support and use of the library.
Next, I would like to review our accomplishments. To sum up this past year, we have looked to the future. We have 4 main points that we would like to make. We made our high school representative a voting member of our board. The thinking behind this is not only did it seem more inclusive, but some of our teens will either stay in the Canby area or will return to Canby. And we need to set the precedent now that they are valued members of our community. In addition, and one of the goals of the library, as well as of the Library Advisory Board, is to be as inclusive as possible. Second, we spent time in education. Some of the Library Advisory Board members had no prior public government experience, so Joe Lindsay was invited to speak to the Library Advisory Board to answer questions and address some issues that had arisen. To be effective now and going forward, Library Advisory Board members need to fully understand how to effectively run public meetings. We will be discussing instituting a training refresher update on this at the beginning of each fiscal year, so every member of the Library Advisory Board can fully function in a manner that best serves the needs of our community. Third, per our charter,